Welcome everyone to the Young Distant Leadership edition 24. Yeah, it's 24. So we're going to be starting live on Mixel now. Okay, so we started live on Mixel. Okay, we just started live on Mixel now. So today we're going to be having Mr. Victor, and it's a great privilege we're having. So I'm going to read up his introduction now, his profile, and then we'll bring him up now. Hey, hi. So while I'm waiting, let me just share the link to him. Okay, so I'm going to read out Mr. Victor's profile, and then um, I will just add him up right now. So I don't want to take too much time. So Mr. Victor is an impact entrepreneur, an award-winning transformational speaker, a corporate MC, mentor, and author of the book The Seasons of Life: Tools to Cultivate the Best in You. Born in Palmont, Devon, moved to Nigeria with his parents at the age of 3, where he completed his education with BLc in geography. He returned to the UK after completing his national service as to grow himself, gain more experience to contribute back to Nigeria and Africa. In the UK, he worked with one of the biggest intercity railway companies and rose up to the ranks of management, managing up to 1,000 staffs based in London. He shared his impactful transformational messages in the United Kingdom, United States, across Nigeria and other African countries like Kenya, Rwanda, and then Ghana, and then Malawi. He also mentors young leaders in Nigeria, Kenya, Rwanda, Malawi, and also volunteered as a mentor with DWP, Department for Works and Pensions UK, to help young people of black and ethnic minorities in building confidence and personal development, preparing them for the work and business environment. He's also the co-founder of the Generation Nehemiah, a for-profit organization that helps create sustainable community wealth in the northeastern Nigeria. It sits on the board of Stop, the foundation that is a registered charity to protect women and children, also the youth empowerment. Torchbearer for Timeless Women of Wonder Foundation, based in Kenya. He has also been featured on TV, radio publications in Nigeria, Kenya, and United Kingdom. He's also married to Haydena and has 3 boys, David, Jotam, and then Nathan. Yeah, nice thing. Okay, so we're going to have Mr. Victor right now, and then we're good to go. In creative. So, yeah.
Good.
Hello, hello, hello.
I always remember. When I see you, I remember Sunspiration. So I just remember Sunspiration. When I see you, I just remember Sunspiration. Thanks so much, sir, for accepting my invitation. I'm really, really grateful.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure. I think you're a very organized man, because I think this invitation came like months and months ago. Because I even said to you, like, I'm not even sure what I'll be doing at that time, but I'm glad we're able to make it happen today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we're going to go straight to the point. So I'm just going to allow Mr. Victor to take the floor. And then before Mr. Victor starts, I was going through your profile, and then I was searching to say who can speak on character. And I've been finding a speaker to speak on character, which I believe is something that is actually very powerful for young generations such as this time. And when I saw you, I said, God, thank God I've met him. And then I said, yeah, so I'll just allow you to speak on character. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. So are you going to ask me questions, answer, or do you want me to just carry on, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think you just carry on. You just carry on.
All right. Anyway, I was expecting, anyway, throw questions in. I think that'll make it easier for me. So anyway, or anything you don't understand, just let me know. And
okay. I think, so
the
first is actually, I think we have a question. We have some set down question. But
beautiful.
Before that, we just want you to just speak briefly about yourself, and then speak a little about character, and then we'll ask the questions. We'll share with you questions.
Great. I'm only asking the questions, guys, because I'm trying to make sure we get the best value out of this, because it's always a privilege for me every time I'm invited to speak anywhere, or to share with people, or even an interview like this that we're doing live. So, and I want to make sure that the audience get the best out of everything, because I know time is very precious. And for people to take their time to join us now, or to even watch this later when it's posted on your page, I believe it's something great. So thank you, everybody, for joining us now. For those who join us live, thank you, everyone, for just going to join us later. We really appreciate every single one of you, and we don't take this for granted in any way, shape, or form. Miracle, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate being here. I said to you, I do not take any engagement because I believe it takes a lot for you to trust me to come onto your platform and to come and speak. And I think for you to actually invite me to speak about character, particularly, I think that is very, very strong and that is very bold. And it takes a lot of courage for me to do that, because it might involve people going down to dig down my profile to try to figure out, okay, he spoke about character. Let's find out whether he's a man of character himself. You see, but I'm going to start by saying no human being is perfect. I'm not a god. I'm only a human being like you and I. And I believe in the power of character. And I think I've been brought up right when I was a child. And I will do anything on this earth to protect my name, my character, my reputation. Because I think it's something that once you've broken, you will struggle to build again. It takes a while to build it. And so you can build from now till how long you can. You see how many people in this world have been destroyed because of bad character. People don't tend to forget. They'll always remember the horrible things they've done because your character, oh no, we don't trust him. Recently, like what happened in the UK recently, which we all know when they've been in the political scene, when the special advisor to Boris Johnson was called to have an interview with the Senate, or I say with their House, you know, over what happened during the pandemic started. And in as much as he was saying everything that went on, a lot of people still do not believe him or do not trust him because of his character. During the lockdown, he traveled out of the area he was supposed to be in. So basically, he broke the lockdown rules. But obviously, he told us some stories that was testing his eyes and so many different things. And so by the time now, when the whole country was very angry with him, even when he had a press conference, he never actually apologized to anyone in the country. So everybody got really angry with him. Everybody asked the Prime Minister to sack him, but the Prime Minister never sacked him. Until finally, towards the end of last year, I mean, a few months ago, the Prime Minister finally sacked him now. And then now he's come back to come and speak against the Prime Minister now in the Senate. So, but in as much as, yes, what he's saying could be true, could not be true, because he's trying to blame the Prime Minister for lots of lives that were lost over the pandemic, still at the same time, when you look at it, you come to realize, and the question I ask myself, the question is, he might be saying the truth because he's right next to the Prime Minister. But because of his character and because of what he did a few months ago, whatever he says now, nobody believes him. Everyone just feels, well, he's just trying to smite his boss because the boss sacked him. So when I talk about character, that's why I'm giving you guys this story. It's so powerful because you want to be the kind of person that when you speak, when you open your mouth and talk, people will listen to you. People will believe what you say. You see, because you don't need to be convincing people about anything. And to be honest with you, I'm not here to come and say, okay, I'm going to brag and say I'm a man of character. I said to you, I'm sure I've made my mistakes in the past in which I had to take a while to correct. I'm not absolutely perfect, but I'll tell you one thing which I think is very powerful. But I'll take one step backwards first to actually explain to you guys as a character, because you might listen to me thinking, what is this character people are talking about? What is even the meaning of character? What does it even make sense? As in, why should anyone even bother about character? Which was I telling you guys a short while ago. Now, character, as I said, is mainly your reputation. You know, your reputation, your personality, your honor. You know, how people honor you, your attributes, your temperament. You know, everyone talks about different temperaments that we have in our life. And that's mainly what your character is. Your character is mainly you. You know, as in, what do people think about when they think of you? You know, when we talk about maybe politicians in Africa, or when we talk about leaders around Africa, you know, what do we think about them? What do we feel about them as our leaders? You know, and I was talking about, that's why you talk about the character. You see, and I love this fact that I'm talking to young leaders here today. And I love the fact that we're talking about character here. Because I think it's something that we really have to start taking very, very serious. I attended a secondary school in Lagos called King's College, Lagos. And in King's College, from the day you come, one thing I know we never joked about. In fact, we call it rep. And what rep means reputation. I remember when I was telling my wife a story like just last week, and I was telling her about a time in which something happened. And in King's College, if something goes wrong and you saw what happened, and the person was actually in your class, we have a rule. Whatever they do to you, no matter how much you're punished, you do not tell on somebody else. As in, you do not grasp. You do not. It's not allowed. We look at it as bad character. You can't turn against you can't turn against your own brother. It's not allowed. You see, and that was like reputation. And from when I joined the school, we call it rep. As if something goes wrong, they're like, oh, your rep has gone down. We call that your rep has gone down. You know, and so I think that built it. That's what solidified it in me. You know, as a person, right from when I grew up to even when I moved to UK and living in a country like England. Oh my Lord! If you tell somebody, an English person, or I'll say a white man, I'm gonna be there at 2 o'clock, and you turn up at 2:05, maybe he'll forgive you the first day. The next time he loses respect for you straight away. You know, like in our own case, you can be 2 hours late, 4 hours late, no apology, and everyone thinks it's okay. That is bad character. Time is something in which you can never ever get back. If you tell someone to wait for it for 2 hours, and the person has waited 2 hours, and then the person waited 4 hours or 2 hours, and the person is waiting and waiting and waiting. Then you turn up, no apology, and you think is normal, and we call it African time. That person has lost 2 hours of their life. There was a time I had a meeting with somebody, the person is African. First time I waited for him like 30 minutes. Second time, end of the day, I just said, look, we can't work together again. I just said, look, we can't do this. Because the fact that I say, how many times do you just keep, I said, come on. To me, I think it's disrespect. To me, I think it's a high level of someone gives you a time, doesn't turn up. And these are the little things that we have to start looking at when it comes to character. These are things that we overlook and we think is normal. And it's not normal, guys. It's not normal, guys. It's not. So talking about character as leaders, our reputation. And let me tell you guys, because if you're young, there are things you might do now and think, oh, it's okay, it's fine, don't worry about it. I'm okay with it. Come on, I've got so many years to go. I'll give you guys a good example now, because I'll be giving you guys plenty of examples. I'll give you guys a good example now. When I was doing my NYC in Nigeria. Thank you very much. I can become say it's a good example. Thank you. When I finished at the university and I had to do my national service. Well, I was born in the UK, and obviously I had a chance to live here or to live in Nigeria. And I just sort of thought, okay, I'm deciding which way to go. So the fact that I was going to move out of the country anyway, I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to do my NYSC, because even if I decided to go back to Nigeria to pick up an appointment, if I work in the private sector or I open my own company, no one's going to question me about my NYSC. But obviously, if I'm going to go into government or anything else, I need to present an NY certificate. So I felt the best thing for me first is let me get my national service done. So whatever happens and whichever way I end up, either live in Nigeria or live in the UK, at least I know I'm covered on both sides. So when it's time to do my national service, the posting came out and they said to me, okay, we know somebody there because my parents live in Abuja. Oh, let them just say they can post you to Abuja, or we can go to Jos or anywhere else you choose to go to. But I deliberately refused. In fact, I went to Abuja. I was supposed to speak to the person that was supposed to help me redeploy. They call it redeployment. That's supposed to help me redeploy. I deliberately refused to redeploy. I said, no, I'm going to stay here. Wherever I'm posted to, I'm going. And they posted me to Kebbi State. Everyone that knows Nigeria, but Kebbi, towards Sokoto and everywhere else. Right there out in the desert. They posted me to Kebbi State. So imagine someone that lives in Lagos. Then my parents are living in Lagos then. Imagine someone that lives in Lagos, now doing NYSC in Kebbi. You understand? Because most people have thought about, no, I have to leave, I have to whatever it is. But because of the secondary school I went to, we were sort of brought up and trained the kind of way where there was a very mix. They used to pick people from every part of the country. They would bring you together into one school. And that's what they used to do for us. So they bring us back together into one school to come and from different states. So then we had all the 36 states were represented in the school. So I felt it was very good in integrating Nigeria. Because now I have friends from all over the country. Every state I have a friend in now because of secondary school I went to. So I felt NYC was a good place, a very good thing for the nation of Nigeria to integrate us. So why post somebody who is Yoruba to Lagos? No, put him in the north. That's my feeling, you see. So when I was sent to Kebbi, in as much as I'm a northerner, I'm from Adamawa State, which is the northeast. Kebbi obviously is in the northwest. So it's not really the same. We're quite different in cultures and everything else. In case everyone thinks north is north. No, it's not. We're two different places. You see? But I refused to deploy because I said to myself, one day, if I start talking about one Nigeria, or I start talking about NYSC being insisting on everyone goes to different states so we can come together as one country, people might pick on me and say, Victor, what are you talking about? After all, you were deployed, didn't you? You never stayed where you were. I know, so I would not be able to say anything about that. So the good thing I know is, which is great about character is, you might be young now as a young leader, listen to this thing, and thinking to yourself, I'm okay, I can do what I want to do now. But you're going to think, there are things that could come back and bite you on the long term. And that's what we have to really start thinking about from this stage. We have to start looking at building that reputation, that when your name is mentioned, people begin to think about you in a whole different way. Because we know that, okay, fine, you know what, you built a reputation. And so in as much as people even try and pour dirt on you, they will struggle because they know they can't find anything else. Now, are we all human beings perfect? No, we are not. Have we all done things that were bad for our character or could have pulled our character down? I'm sure we have. Because the true man, everybody here can watch this and say to me, oh, I'm a man of good character. But until you're tested, listen to this, until your character is tested, you have not arrived yet. Don't sit down here and say to me, oh, I'm a man of good character. Tell me about the test you've been through. Tell me about the test you have been through before you begin to walk around and brag. We are very good at pointing fingers at people with bad character. We are very good at naming them every day. But when we begin to search our hearts personally, we as human beings begin to answer the question. So I'll give you a good example now. Now let me tell you my that's my wife's comment there. You know, so
wow.
so it's interesting. Let me tell you guys a quick story now. I was with a group of guys a few months ago, and we're doing this thing together. And the whole idea was you're supposed to work as a team. And when you're working as a team, if one person pulls the team down, the whole team will have to pay a fine. So I was leading the team at one particular time, and it got to a point whereby we put everything together, and then we had one person we could not reach. We tried to call the person, we tried to work with them, reach out the person, we couldn't reach out the person. There's somebody in the team that said to me, oh, don't worry, I will send you what I think that person's contribution is going to be. So next thing, the person sent it to me on WhatsApp, and I asked her, oh, did you get in touch with the person? And the person now said, no, I didn't, but I believe this is what I believe this is what they are going to say. I said, no problem at all. So I put it together, I passed everything on as it was supposed to be. And when I finished doing that, and I thought to myself, Victor, that was wrong. You know, now you'll be thinking, do you know what the reality is? What the person gave me is actually correct. It was spot on. It's exactly what that person would have done, but it didn't come from the person. But I passed it on. So now I'm being very vulnerable to you guys here. Now I'm telling you guys the truth. So I'm not sitting down here like the man that has the world character in the world and never done anything wrong before. But let me tell you guys something. So when I thought about it and everything, after that, I said to myself, Victor, that was wrong. Now to most people, that's nothing to them. That's like a day in the office. That's like there's nothing different about that. After all, it's correct now. Because the truth is, that's exactly what the person would have given me. But it just did not come from that person. So and I thought to myself for a while, and I was feeling weak for like 2 hours. I was feeling so bad. I'm like, what have you just? That's not right. That's not right, Victor. As in my mind kept on playing with me. I kept on pricking my heart as in, you know. And then I thought to myself, I said, you know what? I said, on the bright side, I'm very pleased that my mind is questioning me. I'm very pleased that I'm questioning myself about it. You know, I believe true character too comes out when we're all going to get things wrong. We are all going to do the wrong things. Guys, we're all going to. We've all been caught in situations whereby, you know, maybe you just had no choice. Let's say you're rushing somewhere and you just, like in Nigeria now, in as much as I don't do bribes with police and everybody else, I just follow the right rules so I don't have to bribe any policeman or anything else. And I believe that. Get all your car documents right, do everything the right way. Even if they pull you over, they can't get anything out of you because you've done the right things. You see? And that's what I strongly believe. But at times, let me just put it out. At the time, maybe you're like rushing somewhere, maybe you just jumped the red light, and then they pulled you over, and then you know what, 59, maybe you could have just, you know, because you're somewhere desperate to get to. You just say, no, just take it, and they let you go. You know, the question is, I know we can always ask for forgiveness, which is good because I believe that we all get things wrong. And so if you get things wrong, I believe it's about that repentance. How do you feel about it? When you start doing wrong things that are bad for your character, and they start becoming normal for you, that's your heart is not asking you questions. You're not feeling bad about it. When you start doing things like that, and you begin to get comfortable with it, that's when this happens. That's when it begins to be a problem. But I'm sure once in a while, we are all going to slip once in a while. We are all going to slip once in a while. But it's about how we question ourselves, how we decide to turn things around and say, fine, you know what, guys, I have slipped. I have made a mistake. And I need to correct this and make sure it never, ever happens again. And I think that's the most important thing. It's not about being judgmental. It's not about pointing fingers. I just told you guys something now. Some people might decide, okay, fine, I'm gonna switch off watching this guy now because he has done something out of character before. You know, but I'm telling you guys now, you see, I'm being vulnerable with you guys and open up to you guys. And at the beginning, I said it clearly. I said, look, I'm not coming to you as Mr. Good Guy or Mr. Perfect Guy. There might be things that I did, maybe I don't even remember now, you see. But still, at the end of the day, I'm giving you one example in which maybe I can remember that something happened recently. That's I'm giving you an example from there. Just trying to be vulnerable with you guys and tell you guys that, look, nobody's perfect. Absolutely nobody is. We all have our flaws. We all have our flaws in different ways. It's easy for you to point those fingers. But like I said to you guys earlier, it's easy for you to get judgmental. But always ask yourself the question, has my character been tested? Has my character been tested? And when you talk about tests, there are different levels of tests. There's easy tests, there's difficult tests, you know. But have you actually been through the fire? You know, when you're refining gold, it goes through fire, hot fire. You know, all this. You know, when you're refining properly, has your character been refined? Has it gone through that furnace? If it hasn't, be careful how you're pointing fingers. Be very, very careful how you're pointing fingers. And that's what I'm going to say to you guys now. But I'll tell you guys very quickly now. I'll give you three things. Three things. Because when I posted this event on my page on Instagram, I said there are three things that affect people's characters in this world. Three things. And you know what? I've been thinking if there's a fourth one or a fifth one or a sixth one. And you know what? Anyone that is watching today, if you think there's more than three, or there's any other thing, or maybe these three things I came up with are actually wrong. If you think so, I would love to know. Because I'm still researching. I'm still trying to work out. Three things. Number one is money. Money. You want to test someone's character, give the person money. Money. Oh, money. It's easy for everyone to sit down here and to talk about the leaders we have in Nigeria, or talk about those in Senate, or those in House of Reps, or those here and there. When they put you in there, I've not been there before, so I don't know, but I heard they bring money in sacks. And they come to bring a bill, and they come to distribute this cash in the big bags. And then you decide, no, I'm not going to collect it. Keep your money. Then I'll begin to know, okay, fine, this is a man of good character. Because you find yourself in positions that you just can't help it. You go for a contract, and they'll tell you you have to inflate the figures. Have you been through that before you begin to point finger at somebody else? Now, I'm not saying these things are right. Don't get me wrong. Don't say I went on one Instagram live and one guy, Victor, came and was telling us that it's okay for us to do this because we're going to get forgiven. No, don't get me wrong. We have to do our best to maintain good character. But I'm just giving you guys examples so that I can give you guys things you can be careful about. So when you find yourself in those environments, you know that this is possibly one of the things that can damage my character. Money is number one. If you look at every man that has fallen, or every woman that has fallen, I use the word man because obviously man means man, woman, so you guys understand. When it's just trace it properly. Possibly there was money involved in the whole process. A friend of mine told me a story the other day. There's this guy called Bukal Borori. He's I knew when I schooled at the University of my degree, and the guy I didn't know him personally anyway, but I heard his name. His name was very common then because I think he's like a multi-millionaire, one of the biggest, one of these northern businessmen. And he was saying, and this is my friend, I was talking to my friend 2 weeks ago, and he told me a story. So he was telling me about somebody that was doing business somewhere, and I said to him, oh, do you know the person? He said to me, no, I don't know the person. And he now said to me, do you know what? Nobody will ever know anybody until when money comes between both of you. When money comes between both of you, that's when you know the true character of someone. You borrowed their money, they did not pay you back. The true character of the person. Or maybe you guys had to share money and it took more than you did, or they changed the stories. You know, and you know, and the funny thing was, in fact, the story he told was somebody came to Bukal Borori and said to him, oh yeah, I know that guy. He now said, do you say you know him? He said, yes, I know him. Has money ever come between both of you? The guy said no. He said to him, then you don't know him then. You see, and that was the answer. If cash has not if money has not come between both of you, then you guys don't know each other. Even husband and wives. You know, because even though I was in a marriage thing the other day, and they said what are the causes of conflict? Money. You know, husband and wife, they're fighting money. Who's bringing more money in, or this one is bringing more, this one is there, all those things. So that's number one, very quickly. That's money. Second one that I thought about is politics. You know, and when you look at politics, I look at politics in the whole picture of politics. You know, and when I say politics, people think politics maybe about democracy or going to vote or minister, or House of Reps or governor. No, you know, politics exists everywhere. In offices, in your estate, everywhere you go, there's politics playing the game. And in fact, life is like, in fact, whole life, what's politics mainly? Democracy, or the people by the book for the people. And mostly people trying to manipulate each other to their sides, trying to move people's way of thinking, people's minds, people's everything. So even in Nigeria now, religion has actually become politics too. Because if people use religion against, oh, look, I'm of this religion, so vote for me, or that religion, vote for me, or that religion. No, it's all people begin to use politics, use religion to add politics to it. And that's why you begin to find divisions. You know, people can be very close. They're very close to each other. They're very close friends and everything else. But when politics gets involved, I made a we're going to go and vote with my wife. And I said to her, who are you going to vote for? And she said to me, no. She now said to me, there's two things in this life that the wife doesn't have to tell the husband, that the husband and wife don't have to agree on. Number one is the political views, and number two is heaven. Because obviously, in as much as you're married and you're one, At the end of the day, no matter how good I am, no matter what I do, my goodness cannot get my wife to heaven. And the same and vice versa. So she said, religion, I mean, you know, your relationship with God and politics are the two things in which husband and wives are allowed to agree to disagree. And well, I can say I agree with her on that one. So politics is one thing too. If you look at most people that have gone into trouble in this life, check very closely. What got them into trouble? How they get into trouble? Number one, money was involved. Number two, it was politics playing this game somewhere else. Number three is women. Now, women, I'm not saying people are bad because I'm a married man. Don't get me wrong. But if you look at every top man, look at even the Bible, even the Holy Bible, you know, look at the top man, the man after God's hand, David, you know, woman pulled him down. You see, you did something wrong. You affect his character because of that. So when you look at this, I look at these three things every single time. I say to myself, anytime something goes wrong, things that affect people's characters, every time I think about it, every time I look at it, I think to myself, money, politics, and women. They're the three things. And it's easy. I was in a meeting the other day, like a men's meeting, and they were talking about infidelity amongst men. And while we were discussing it, I gave my views at first. Then this guy, he was very funny. He came out and said to her, look, many years ago, he went astray and did horrible things, kind of stuff. And you know, and when he finished, you now see, you know, the way he spoke, it totally humbled me. As in, I felt, oh my Lord, I wanted to just collect my words back and put them back in my pocket after he spoke. And he now said something like, he said, do you know what? Sometimes if you've not really been caught in that situation, you see, it's easy to point fingers. It's easy to see a guy who cheated on his wife. I'm not saying cheating on your wife is good. Don't go and say Victor said it's good for cheating on my wife. I did not say that. But I'm trying to say that we're all not perfect and people are going to fall sometimes. So when he mentioned it, he now said, in life, if you have not been caught in a certain situation, if you have not been tested in those areas, you know, as I spoke about money, if you've not been tested the money, as in the cash was in your hand, and you had every reason to keep it or run away with it, but you chose to do the right thing. That's number one. Number two, you know, the politics, you know, you were right in the middle of the whole thing, but you chose to stand your ground for what is right for the people. You chose to stand the ground for the right people. Then we know you've done the test and you survived it. And the third thing, obviously, is you've been, you know, as in maybe you found yourself in the wrong environment. You didn't plan to be there. Because as men, we have to be able to see ahead. If you're talking to a woman, if you see it's going not the way you wanted to go, you just pull yourself out of it very quickly. Because we have to see things ahead of time and try to get ourselves out of the situation to avoid our character being affected. And at times, some people think, oh, no one will ever find out. But these days, it's so crazy, you just don't know. Look at the chain of women that have come out recently now about they've been harassed over the years. So you can see all this. I'm sure all those men thought they were going to get away with it. They thought, oh, it's all over now. It's finished. I don't worry. Nobody, 10 years, 20 years, nobody ever know anything. But it all starts coming out. So we've got to be careful, I said earlier, even as young people, about your character particularly. And I think I'm going to wrap up very quickly by saying this, which I think is very important. Number one, just reminders. Don't get judgmental. Don't, you know, as in, if somebody does something wrong, you know, I can give an, you know, I want to give an example now, but I'm thinking maybe I'm going to be, because I don't want people to misunderstand my example, because there's a topic to talk about that are quite sensitive, you see. So maybe I'll leave that. Maybe I'll have a conversation with people in a quiet room. I think I'll talk about that. You see, but the thing is, we've got to realize is, it's very easy for us to point fingers. It's very easy for us to be judgmental about things. You see, it's very easy for us to constantly remember the bad thing that somebody has done before. You know, as in every time, even if they did good things, we will still remember that bad one they did. You know, I saying, come on, guys. I mean, this year, maybe the person has apologized. The person has said he's sorry. It might be a really horrible thing. You see, they've said they're sorry. They've apologized. They've mended their ways. They're now doing good things. But we'll still keep on bringing it back. You know, as in we'll keep being judgmental. We keep pointing fingers at them. Well, we're all guilty of it. Don't blame me. Well, I mean, we're all guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it too. You know, your brain will constantly remind you. You know, so, you know, guys, you know, this guy, last time he let me down. I think, no, I can't trust him again. And sometimes we lose out on opportunities because we refuse to trust again. You see, sometimes you lose opportunities because we just refuse to. The person might have confessed and said, "Look, I'm sorry. I'm never going to do it again." You know, and that kind of thing. But we just we refuse to forgive. We refuse to let go because we keep thinking, no. So I'm not bringing character to you guys as something like everyone is honest, everyone is good. You know, this is but I'm just throwing things out there to you guys. Just to get the message, you see. And I think if anything we have to start doing with is people might have got things wrong over the years. You always ask the question is, how have they transformed their lives? How have they changed over life? Yes. How are they doing good things as time goes on? And the most important thing we have to remember is, when it comes to character, we have to always be aware and alert, because we have to be careful to be aware, to be able to see far ahead of us, so we can avoid, which is the most important thing. As I said to you guys earlier, if you have all your car documents complete, if you have everything ready, then there's no reason for the police to pull you over for you to have to give them money. There are times we may try and force you. I'll give you a good example that happened now. We had an event in my state, I think about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was supposed to be like a walk. We got to walk for success. And while we were taking that walk, before we did the walk, we had to go and tell the police that we're going to do a walk, a peaceful walk, so they don't think there's any riot going on. And there's going to be quite a number of us happening. And we needed security to go with us. So when we went to this thing, so when we went to, sorry, I'll let you comment there. So we went to the police station to talk to the policemen, to tell them about the event. And then obviously we started a long story with them. They said, okay, we had to give them a certain amount of money and everything else. So when the policeman told me, the first thing I said to him was, hang on here, don't the government give people money for fuel in your cars and everything else? Then he said, oh yeah, they do and everything. And that kind of thing. And I said, okay, then why do you have to give you money then? Then the man went on a long story, told me his life story about his son that is in university and everything else. And I'm listening and thinking to myself, then what is, because to him, he thought I was being disrespectful by telling him that. He said I was being disrespectful by telling him that. But by the time I had to finish the conversation, and I said to him, I said, look guys, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I will not be giving you guys any money today to do anything for us, because I believe that all we've come to do is that ask you guys to do what you're paid to do your job. So I will not be giving you guys a single penny. But we have two options here now. Either you guys come out tomorrow, or we cancel the walk. And the press is supposed to be involved. So if we cancel the walk, they'll say, why did you cancel? I said, because police refused to come and help us because we wouldn't give them money. So I told the guy, oh, this is what's going to happen. And then he stood for a while and he thought, he said, okay, don't worry. What time do you want us there? I said, 7 a.m. Oh, 7 a.m. we'll be there. Guess what? They were there. 7 a.m. the next day. It turned out. Wow. Now, we took the walk. When we finished what we're doing, then I now gave them a tip and said, thank you very much for helping us. Let me buy you guys lunch. So that's not bribery. Obviously, they've done a good job. And the good thing was, when they came, they didn't come angry. They came, they were smiling. They were even walking with us, and everything else. We were even laughing together. They had their van behind us. They escorted us all the way. In fact, I was so pleased what they did. Because I thought they were going to turn up with attitude and doing anyhow. We come late or something like that. They came on time. They escorted us. And we did everything nice and smoothly. At the end, and I said, thank you so much for what you guys have done for us. I'll buy you guys lunch. And I gave them something to go and buy lunch. We didn't buy lunch or that. I said, I'll buy you guys lunch. And that was it. So to me, I felt, so there are times in which the same money I gave them after they did the job was the same money I would have given them before the job. But I just chose not to, because I said to myself, I want to stand my ground and see what happens in this case. And when I stood my ground, I got what I wanted, and they got what they wanted to anyway. But still, end of the day, it was done in the right order, with the right character at the end of the day. So when you look at things like that, you realize that it's possible. Because a lot of people might say to me, Victor, it's easy for you to sit and have these conversations because you only live in Nigeria and things like that. But let me tell you guys, when it comes to character, it is harder when you live outside Nigeria. Because your reputation is so much looked at that you cannot afford to lose down. One mistake they will not forget, and they will continuously bring it up. Something as simple as saying to somebody, let's meet for coffee, and then you now cancel for no good reason, or maybe just don't turn up. You're in trouble. They will forever remember it. They will forever mention it. They will forever talk about how you came late. They will forever, they'll throw it at you nonstop. And that's why, and it's the same thing. So you have to remember. So in Nigeria, you can say, don't worry, because we made it look as if like a normal thing. Letting people down, do what we're going to do, not challenging people, just say, don't worry, it's okay. So we got used to walking around with all sorts of characters. But when you leave outside the country, you have to learn that thing very well. I tell people the same thing. People go to airport in Abuja when I'm flying at Abuja. They go to airport, they'll be jumping queues, they'll be doing anyhow, they all kind of stuff and funny things. They get to London and they're standing in queue. And you're thinking, you could have stand in a queue in your country. Now you come to non-man's land and you're standing in queue. Because you know that you can't just mess up, you see? And the final thing I'm going to say is, when it comes to character, one way, how do we get people to start having a life with good character. How do you get people to have a life with good character? People have to understand that there are consequences. They are, when people begin to realize that there are strong consequences for having these bad characters, that the people will not accept it anymore. When I look at the state of Nigeria now, one thing I would say, what? Maybe the reason why it's the way it is because the people have accepted it. If the people if the people decide and say, you know what, we will not accept these kind of characters, we will not accept these kind of behaviors, things will begin to change. But I think we got to a point whereby maybe we got tired and just saying, you know what, anything goes. People say anything goes. You know what, I'm tired of shouting. So anything goes. And we've been living with this anything goes for years and years and years. And it's not helping us in any way. Slowly, it's killing us. But we have to begin to understand, we have to begin to question people's characters. We have to begin to ask them questions, trying to push them. Let them realize that there are consequences. If I vote you in the office, you don't perform, next time you come back 4 years later, I will not even talk to you. I said, no. Don't just go. Because I know the kind of person you are. I know the character. You might tell me I've repented, don't worry. We'll vote somebody else. 4 years later, you can come back again. Show us you have done something different in the next 4 years, and we'll vote you again. You see, but if somebody turns up for election, he says hello to us, we vote for him, he disappears, we don't see him again till 4 years later. And they come back and tell us again, and I'm like, come on, guys, So we have to begin to understand that when people begin to understand that there are consequences for these bad characters, they will begin to change. They'll begin to think differently. They'll begin to make an effort. And I'm glad we're having a conversation with young people now too, because secondly, when people begin to understand the fact that and the importance of these characters, we have to start talking about it from a very young age. As I told you guys, one of the key things that built my character strongly was when I was in secondary school. I went to secondary school about 10 years old, 10 and a half to 11 years old when I entered JSS1, and from there, I started building that character in me from there. All the way for the 6 years I was there, we were building that character. And it's funny because when you look around, even my classmates that would now all the time, we still have conversations every single time. In fact, WhatsApp group, we meet up, there's quite a lot of us here and in the UK and in America, and we catch up very regularly. And you could tell all of us still behave the same way. If we're meeting up, everyone is there on time. There's no, you don't see, we trust each other so much, even right from those days in school. The bond is still very strong because of how much our characters were mined very well while we're in school. And I think it's important that people, even in schools now, begin to promote that like very, very strongly from a very young age. Because I think to me, once it's instilled in you, even when you get things wrong, when your conscience begins to prick you, then you know that, okay, fine, you know what, I've got a good character. And that's why something that people have overlooked, I'm feeling bad about. And that's when you know, okay, fine, you know what, my conscience is pricking me. But we begin to see people around who don't even have a conscience. When I look at leadership in Nigeria now, I always have a look. I said, do these people have a conscience? I ask every single time. Because I'm like, do they have a conscience? As in, is just what I keep. I said, do they sleep? When you watch videos of hospitals, when you see schools, and you're thinking, where did the money for this school go to? When you see the roads, and you're asking the question, and you really begin to wonder, do they have a conscience? And the thing is, when somebody will say someone's salary has not been paid for 6 months, you're like, how is this person supposed to feed his family? How are you supposed to go to school? I'm like, do you have a conscience? And I think we really had to ask them, when somebody has a conscience, then at least, okay, you know what, to some extent you can trust this person. But when you're dealing with someone that has no conscience, that means he's got no feelings for anybody else. He does not care about anybody else but himself. I'm like, that is bad. So we really, really have to start asking questions. We really have to start building character from a very, very young age. And guys, if you ask questions, we need to question their characters. We start building character from a very young age as we raise young leaders. And guys, don't be judgmental. Do not point fingers. Everybody makes mistakes. Give them a chance to repent. Give them a chance to turn their lives around. Give them a chance to transform their lives. But don't just keep reminding them. When you can see someone making a good effort to turn things around, to make their lives better, don't keep taking them back to where they were before. Possibly they made a mistake. And guys, remember, money, politics, women, 3 things. And as I said, if anyone can think of anyone else, let me know. They are the 3 things that most of the time, when a man's character is affected, you could tell that it's one of those things that pulled the man down. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll take any questions.
Wow, I need to clap. Thank you so much, sir. So when you were talking, and then there was this word that came to my mind, and I think I need to say it. Character is actually it's about authenticity, being authentic, and when you were talking, I realized that it's not about thinking you are all right. It's not about thinking you should be all wrong. It's about thinking you should be authentic. That means if you were wrong, accept the fact that you were wrong, and not having to say I can't be wrong. And then if you're right, wow. Thank you so much. So I have about 3 questions.
All right.
3 questions. One of the question is this: what should be the pillar of every man's character? It's relative according to geographical areas. But what do you think should be the universal pillar for people's character? So what should they base their character on? And one of the reasons I'm asking this question is because of this story. So this happened about 3 days ago. So my brother's a fashion designer, and then he did a clothes for a Nigerian politician. Then it took the man about a month to pay him his money. And at that time, he hasn't paid him his money. So my brother told me, hey, very cool, this man has not paid my money. Are you serious? I'm like, hey, say yes. I said, wow. I felt bad that a politician. So I said, give me his number. I called him, he didn't pick up. Someone else called him, he blocked everybody's number. I said, this is not right. This is not nice at all. So this is what I did. I texted him. And I said, sir, honorable. I called him honorable. Honorable, sir, thank you very much for everything you're doing. Sir, I'm disappointed because of I feel you're a man of reputation and then you have influence in society. Now, having to do this, it doesn't speak well. At the same time, it's not setting good examples for young people. Now, this is it. This is what I'm going to tell you. If you do not pay him his money, it is too small. The money is too small, 20,000 naira, that you will destroy your reputation. Just 20,000 naira. It is okay to tell him you don't have. But that paying and not paying, that how would you pay public servants when you get to a higher position? I sent the text message, and then he didn't get back to me till midnight. He got hungry. And said, what nonsense are you saying? And I'm like, okay, what wrong did I say? And they're like, am I threatening or something like that? I'm like, no, this is not threat. This is just saying that this is wrong. The next day, he sent the money. And I was wondering, wait. So but when he sent the money, I said, thank you so much, sir, for sending the money. We are very grateful. Thank you for keeping to your words. And then the next message he sent to me, this was where the questions come from. He said, I had had masters in this, I had masters in that. I've developed myself, that I know people, that you know people, so I can help you in everything. I can do everything for you. That you're a young boy, you're still coming up, you don't talk like that, you don't. And then I'm like, okay, what is character with all that you've achieved? So the question is, what should be the pillar of question with all of this? Because I feel a lot of young people right now are thinking that character is really about what you have, the money you have, how you can speak well, how you can do this. It happened in school, University of Lagos, and I see how young people in politics, in the social association, speak of how they have been able to do things. And I'm wondering, what is character after all of these things?
You see, there's 2 things here now, like what you spoke about and what he said. But in fact, first I would say, congratulations for challenging him. Because a lot of people will not do that. You know what? Hats off to you for that. I've got to salute you for that, for being able to challenge the person. Most people have just suffered in silence and not done anything about it. And secondly, there's 2 things here now talking about character. There's character and there's competence. Competence is the ability to get something done, as in you know how to do it, which is one thing too. Now, I'm speaking to you now because I've taken time to develop myself and build competence in being able to deliver a speech, or to deliver a talk, or to talk to you live here now. So I understand the things I can say and I cannot say on here to avoid causing any trouble or whatever after. You see, so I know how to articulate my words so that everybody understands what I'm saying. And I wasn't born like this. I had to go and learn. I had to build a competence to do it. But we're talking about character here today. You see, but I have to have the character to be able to talk about this topic that I'm talking about here today, because the topic is actually character. So there's competence, which is one thing. So he's been to school. He's got masters. He's got to where he's got to. He's studied everything. So he's got competence from what he's trying to say, but he's got no character. Wow. Now, I was listening to John Maxwell, and John Maxwell said something when he mentioned competence is very, very important in leadership, because you need competent leaders to be in power. But at the same time, we will begin to struggle to weigh which one is more important in leadership. Is it competence or is it character? And you know what? I believe personally, people might say I'm wrong with this. For me, I believe I'd rather have a leader with good character than a leader that is competent. That's my choice. Because I'll say it again, I would rather have a leader that has good character than one that is competent. And guess what the difference is? A leader that has good character, because you know what, whatever position you find yourself into, you never know the true position of that position you're going into. All of us might say want to campaign as Nigerian president now. Nobody knows the true thing. When you get there, that's when you realize how difficult it is to govern Nigeria. You understand? But when you get there and you realize that you don't have the competence to do it, at least you have the character to resign. That's like, you see? So when we're choosing, we might be caught between trying to decide, do we go for competence or do we go for character? Several times we tend to choose competence. But I think to me, to a large extent, that's why you see, even in the developed world sometimes, a leader doesn't mean somebody that knows everything. It's about the people you surround yourself with. When I look at Nigeria every time, the question I always ask myself is, who is advising these people? That's always my question. You know, my question is always, who is advising these people? You know, when I see this happen in the country, I'm always asking that question. I never say, what are these people doing? My question is always, who is advising these people? And that's why you have special advisors for governors, for ministers, for presidents. That's what you do. Look at what Richard Branson says it on every single time. Richard Branson could tell you to your face, I don't really know what I'm doing. He always says, you know what, but he owns tons of businesses. Why? He surrounds himself with the right people. So you might be the leader, you might not know what you're doing, but you have the ability to get competent people around you to run it, as long as you have good character. So as I said, this is debatable. Some people might think competence is better to have a leader with competence. But as I said to you guys, you can have a leader with competence that has no character. So even when he gets things wrong, when he messes things up, he'll just carry on going with no conscience, as if he doesn't know anything that's going on. But when you have a leader with, even doesn't have the competence, at least he has the character and the conscience to say, I don't know what to do. Who can help me? And then you get the right people around him that can help him. And if the only people you work with still don't get it right, he has the character to say, guys, I'm sorry, I cannot deal with this. I will hand it over to somebody else, choose somebody else that will handle it for us. And I think that's that's where we have to start thinking. Competence, character. Any day, I will choose character.
Wow, Mr. Victor, thanks so much for clarifying this. You just answered 2 questions in one. Thank you so much. So the last question is this. The last question is, one of the reasons why I set up this was because of, I'm in the rest of Lagos, and then I see the pressure in young politics, and I see how, you know, and I see how some young people come to me and say, hey, Miracle, how do you stand against the majority, which is wrong? You know, they say don't follow the crowd, but how do we stand against the majority, the wrong majority? They say, you know, don't follow the crowd, don't follow the crowd. But at the same time, the pressure of the majority will always supersede the minority. So how do we stand against the wrong majority?
You see, personally, I don't go chasing the wrong majority. Because I think once you have values are very important. And when you're a person of value and you have your own values, your values filter things that go through your head. So everything that is said to me to do or whatever I want to do, I have a filter in my head. So every information you give me, it passes through that filter. Then I'll determine if I'm willing to answer you or not, or I'm willing to take part in it or not. And I believe to a very large extent, sometimes we waste too much energy trying to chase the bad people. But I think if you take that energy of trying to deal with them to build the good side, they will have no choice. As they say, if there's someone having a bonfire and they put their own fire to one side, fine, don't go trying to quench their own fire. That energy is a waste. Go to the side, build your own fire, make it so big that the people on that side will begin to come to your side. See, everybody knows what is right and what is wrong. People just follow the wrong way because it's easier. But when they see you doing it with ease, they will think, actually, it's not as hard as we thought it is, and they'll start following you. So we worry too much and fight about how we're going to chase those ones. No, you don't have to. Because I believe that if you build your own bonfire that is so big, they'll have no choice. They'll come across and they'll join you. So to me, I think it's all about energy. We waste too much energy. You know, I think I love the words of the late Dr. Miles Monroe. He said the human mind is one of the hardest things to change in this world. It's so difficult to change the human mind. As in, when you see, and that's what they say, when somebody with a mind that of possibilities decides to do something, you can't stop it. You see, and the human mind, people think it's easy. It's not. I talk about mindset every single time. You see, I speak about mindset every time. And I know I could talk to a room of 500 or 1,000 or even 10,000 people, and only one person's mindset might be changed. You see, because people might sit there and nod their heads and think, okay, it's all cool. When they leave the place, they will go back in their normal environment and they forget what they've even heard. The human mind is so difficult to change. You see, and when I heard Dr. Miles Monroe say that, I said, wow, it's so true. Because Because even look at Nigeria now. I keep going back to Nigeria anyway because I'm so passionate about Nigeria. Look at Nigeria. You see, somebody will sit down and argue with you clearly when you can see something is wrong. And they will argue with you that there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I'll give you one example now. I've spoken several times about, you know, when I talk about leadership, communication is very important in leadership at every level. And I keep on saying, I said, our leaders are not communicating with us. And some people say to you, oh, it's okay. I'm like, how can it be okay? You know, you can check leadership from every level. You know, you need to talk to your people. I'm a father of kids. If something's going wrong in my house and I keep quiet and don't say anything about it, how are you going to fix it? You can't fix it. You need to communicate. But someone will argue with you from now to next year. Oh, it's okay. That's the way they are. That's how the presidency is. That's what it is. It might be the way it is, but it's not necessarily right. So, and I think that's one thing. So when you look at the whole thing, sometimes we just take the energy. Just going back to your question. Leave them and then go their own way. The only reason why it's easy for them to gather the big crowd is everybody loves an easy life. Most of the world, most people have an average mindset. They just want to follow the easy way. They want to go with those who are doing things the easy way. That's it. When they think it's the easy way, but they don't realize that it's not as hard as they think it is. The same way I went to the police station, I said to them, "No, I'm not going to give you money." What does the majority do? They go there, give them cash, and everything goes on. But I chose to be different, and I told you guys what the result was. So most people think it's not as hard as people think it is. It's not difficult, but they just think it is, and that's why they don't do it. So it's up to us to show them that you guys give it a shot. I'm sure you will see that it's not as hard as you guys think it is. So don't waste your energy and time trying to fight people who are going a different way. Fine, don't worry. Build your own to one side. Create so much value on your own side. And guess what? You will, as they say, the mango tree doesn't come to you. You go to the tree to go and pluck the fruit. If you see a nice juicy mango, you can't come, mango, you can stop, you can there for 2 years. But you have to go to the mango and pluck it. When they see what you're doing, they're going to want some of it. And they themselves will begin to shift to your side.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. Thank you so much. So, so we'll come to an end of the section. And after that, we ask this last question for every speaker we have here.
Yeah.
We've had experience, reading your profile, you've had so much of experience, you've had to work with different set of people all over the world. And I believe this is for Africa. And this is actually getting the minds of young people ready for what is yet to come, which you don't know yet. But then we certainly know that the future is there, which is we're doing the future now.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to young people all over Africa, and most importantly in Nigeria? Young people that are going to politics and different sectors in the world, from Africa and young people. What advice would you give to them with the experience you've had? And what's that longing word you want young people to know?
Well, I think for me, the longing word is I think I always just use the word believe. I think the reason why most Africans or Nigerians don't put in as much effort as they could, because I think they begin to lose belief or faith in the continent. And I think to me that's what's key, because I think if you understand what the possibilities are, I know I was speaking to young people just a few days ago, and I was telling them, I said, you know what, and we are the next frontier. If you look at all the continents in the world, most people have more or less achieved everything they want to do. Africa is still untapped. We have never started here with Africa. We have a young generation. We have all the minerals we need in this world. We have everything as young Africans. So when we begin to believe what we have and begin to see what we have, we're able to see beyond everything that's going on now. Africa cannot continue like this. Nigeria cannot carry on like this. It's like everything else. You're going to hit the ground, it's going to bounce, it's going to come back up again. It's all about positioning yourself so that when it begins to rise, you're ready to jump on the boat and follow it up. But if you stand away, when it begins to rise, you're going to miss it. So we have to be stand ready, prepared, because we know that I am confident. This is recorded, this is live. I am confident that it is going to turn around. And we all have to be positioned ready for it. So that belief in our heart, in our mind, it is difficult. Looking at Nigeria now, it's difficult to believe in the country. I know it is. But every day, no matter how much innocence I don't live there, no matter how much I try to turn my eyes to it, I don't see it, I don't care about it, I can't. I just cannot. Because it's just in my blood. I just can't turn my eyes away from it. And I can confidently turn away and not look at it again now. But because I know, and I'm confident about where it's going and how things are going to turn around. And guess what? How we turn it around quickly, we have to get involved. If we get involved, we can turn it around quicker than if we stand back and keep watching, then we've allowed just carry on going on his own, then maybe one day. When we get involved, we can bring that turnaround a lot quicker. 2023 is around the corner. You know, I know leadership is one thing that is really holding us down as a country. You know, 2023 is around the corner. We need to start getting involved. We really need to start getting involved. I have a voter's card. I don't live in Nigeria. I have a voter's card. Most young people might watch this later. Most of them don't even have it. They can't even bother. Most people say, why should I bother voting? Because it makes no difference. If voting makes no difference, why do they pay people to vote? Why the politicians buy the votes, it makes no difference. And that's what my good friend Bishop Barrow, he always says that every single time. You know, he says, why would someone come and give you 1.5 for you to go and vote for him? If the vote is not important, he's not going to bother giving you the money. You see? So that shows that there's a reason why they want that vote to go in there. So the more of us vote, it makes it harder for them to rig the votes. So yes, they might not rig it, but if there's more of us in, it's harder to rig it. Let's say it's between 20 and 1,000. Where can you start rigging 20 from to get to 1,000? You can't. You see, the gap is too much for you to rig it. And that's where we have to start getting involved. We have to start believing in our, you know, look, we can change these things. And in our own way, we spoke about character today. Our character is very important. We have to really get involved. We have to start building the right character. No matter how small environment we find ourselves, make sure we're known with people, as people, with very solid character. And that way, even when we step out in the government, people will be willing to support us. Yes, we know this guy in my community. He's been a very good guy. We're willing to support him because they know that truly, when you get there, you will not be manipulated by money, women, and politics.
Wow. Wow. Okay, let's say thank you, Mr. Victor, before we let him go. I need to say about two thank you before he goes. Let's just wait for 2 thank you or 3 thank you before he goes. So we have 5 years right now. So please just drop in 3 thank you before Mr. Victor goes. Mr. Victor, thank you so much. It's a great privilege having you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Miracle. It's a great privilege being here too. And I think we've had a great conversation. So even me, myself, I'm thinking I have to watch this back again once it's posted on your page.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm waiting for the thank you, please. Let's see the thank before he goes. You won't go to see thank you. Very good. I've seen thank you. I've seen thank you. Another one. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Okay, what else? Another one. And another one before he goes. Another one before he goes. It's a great privilege because he has a lot that he does, and for the fact that he's taking time out to actually be live here, it's a great privilege. So let's say thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so Mr. Victor, I'm going to excuse you now. So thank you so much, sir, and thank you very much to your wife for joining us, for staying. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you. Take care and stay blessed, everybody.
Sir. Bye, everyone.